Today, I'm ranking every single Treyarch Zombies map World at War through Black Ops 6. I haven't quite played the Black Ops 7 maps enough to give a valid rating, so they will be voided from this list. This list is purely subjective, so you are bound to disagree with me, but let's debate in the comments, and without further ado, let's get into it. Starting in the F tier with the awful maps, we have 46 Terra Maledicta, 45 Daron Fong, and 44 the Archon. These are in no particular order because I've only played these a couple times, and boy, these maps are awful. There's no individual descriptions for each of these Vanguard F tier maps, simply because the game is garbage itself. These maps are genuine slop, horribly formatted, they are boring, they're ugly beyond belief, they're very hard to have actual fun on. Moving into our next tier, we have survival maps in what I'm going to call the gray area. I can't really rate it as a full zombie map, therefore it doesn't have a tier, but at 43, the worst survival map is Farm Survival. It's by no means unplayable, but the combination of lack of training spots and an ugly atmosphere place it at the bottom. Bus Depot comes in at 42, just above Farm Survival, simply because the simplicity, the bare bonesness of Bus Depot provides a super challenging experience for the player, arguably the hardest map to even reach round 20 on. It can make for some fun sometimes. At 41, we have Nuketown. A fairly large improvement on the previous two survival maps with the release of Nuketown Zombies. Set on the infamous multiplayer map, the map has everything you need to survive: perks, a mystery box, pack-a-punch, and I think the randomness of perks and pap drops provide an additional level of fun for the player. Coming in at number 40, we have the Mona Lisa of Treyarch survival maps, Town. One of my most played zombies maps of all time. There's seriously no map I think of more when I think of my zombies childhood. It's such a fun and simple map, only 2 box locations, an easily accessible yet challenging pack-a-punch location due to the lava. Town Survival is the pinnacle of Treyarch survival maps, and it comes in at our number 40 spot. Now we move into D tier, which are bad maps. Maps that have much more negatives than positives, and ones that you don't really like to load up yourself. And number 39, we have Die Rise. Die Rise is comfortably my least favorite map of all time besides the Vanguard maps. It is a total disaster of a layout, and I don't want to hear one comment tell me that it's a skill issue. It is objectively messy and bad. The unreliable elevator system mixed with the poorly executed verticality place it at number 39, with its sole redeeming quality being the map's fantastic wonder weapon, the Sliquifier. At 38, we have Transit. I won't go into too much detail because one of my latest videos on this channel was why Transit is still so bad, but let's tally off some negatives really quickly. The bus system, the buildable system, the jet gun, the denizens, 0 box or wall weapons in the town, which is the only playable area. I can go on and on. Is it fun to play with friends? Yes. Is it innovative? Yes. Did Jimmy Zielinski bite off more than he could chew? I think so, absolutely. At 37, we have our first modern Treyarch Zombies map apart from the Vanguard maps, and that is the Tomb. DLC 2 of Black Ops 6 Lifecycle, the Tomb failed to deliver on the hype that it got, especially pre-launch. It feels like Treyarch misled the community by conveniently placing the map in northern France, showing dig sites, the ice staff, clearly alluding to something similar of Origins, and it was not. The map was small, relied on teleporters as the map's main transportation. There's nothing insanely wrong with the map, but it lacks creativity other than the golden armor Easter egg and the fun and insanely challenging boss fight. I mean, that thing is hell. Right above the Tomb, we have one of the 2 launch maps of Black Ops 6 Zombies in Liberty Falls. This map is honestly the textbook definition of why modern zombies was trending down at BO6's launch. The map looks straight out of Warzone, and I think it was eventually. Super bland colors, boring and small layout, although the dark ether aspect provides a little life to the map. Again, not a bad map. I liked the side Easter eggs, there was a ton of them, and the remastered jet gun and even some of the storyline is not bad. At 35, we have the lowest rated Call of Duty Cold War map in Firebase Z. Going on to the positives first, the map layout is really not bad. I don't have any massive problems with it, and the Ray K, the wonder weapon of the map, is absolutely sick. One of my favorite in recent memory. But again, the map lacks life, it lacks identity, color, saturation, and the mimic step. Don't get me started on the mimic step. Along with that, the boss fight is incredibly unrewarding, boring, and easy, providing a very anticlimactic ending to an already anticlimactic map. Coming in at 34, rounding out the D tier, we have Shinonuma Vanguard. This map is the only positive that came out of Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies, expanding on the original Shinonuma with a few new areas and a Wonder Waft to go with it, just like the original map. There isn't anything insanely wrong with the map, except the Vanguard zombie system just sucks in itself. There's nothing spectacular about it, but by far the most fun and most playable experience that Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies brought to the table. Now we move on to the C tier, which are okay maps. They have their positives, they have their negatives. Maps that sometimes you may want to load up once in a while and play, but overall not a map you would consider to be particularly good. Starting off the C tier, we have an extremely creative and innovative map in Voyage of Despair. And I'll tell you, I absolutely despise this map on launch, but it has grown on me a bit over the last 7 or 8 years. Voyage has an extremely unique yet cliche setting at the same time, if that makes any sense. Set on the Titanic in the middle of the ocean, the map layout is extremely confusing and tight squeezed. Every single room looks pretty similar. I think the Easter egg is a little over the top, long and tedious, and it ends with a very difficult boss fight against a giant eyeball. Regardless, the map's atmosphere is pretty damn great, and the Kraken is an awesome wonder weapon, placing it at number 23. Now here's where the list might get a little controversial with you old heads. No, I'm kidding. But at 32, we have the classic Verrückt. This map is absolutely bone-chilling and sure to send chills down your spine. Whether it's the blood-covered floors and walls or the screams coming within the insane asylum, it's pretty frightening. The map really doesn't have anything wrong with it, it's just so bare bones and very outdated, just like number 31, which is the upgrade, the original, the stepping stone of zombies, Nacht der Untoten. Nacht is of course a classic, as it's the very first zombies map of all time, and it deserves its respect. It's retro, it's challenging, it's fun to load up and play once in a while, especially on World at War. But in all honesty, we are in the year 2026. I don't know how many of us are still consistently wanting to load up Nacht der Untoten. And maybe that's because I'm only 19 years old. Maybe I'm too young. I don't see all the appeal. Just cracking the top 30 on the list, we have Forsaken. Forsaken is often hated for its layout, but I actually find it to be quite interesting. Although it's based on a campaign map, I love the artistic colors. The map is a little confusing, and the Easter egg is as well, including an easy boss fight. It just, again, lacks a little of that innovation that we're looking for, but by far the best part of Forsaken is the wonder weapon, the Chrysalax, a hybrid melee weapon that makes so much value in itself. It brings so much to the table. Just because of that, it's at number 30. At 29, we have one of the most played COD Zombies maps of all time in D Machine, which dominated the start of COVID-19. D Machine is a solid zombies map, a solid introduction to modern zombies. The map has multiple layers to it that float together pretty well. It's got a couple interesting wonder weapons and a pretty easy Easter egg overall. The map is overall the definition of mid to me, but one that is fun to load up from time to time just for nostalgia purposes. And here's another hot take. Number 28, we have Ascension. Ascension has simply been passed up by many maps in the newer games. An extremely popular map, especially on release. An innovative one for its time, it was home to many innovative features, and yes, including those dumbass monkeys. But the map is extremely easy to play with a thunder gun, open training spaces, and the introduction of Gersh devices, preventing it from being ranked any higher. At 26, we have the first of the BO4 reimagined maps. Classified is most like its original counterpart. The map's intro and ending cutscenes, as well as the significance in the Ether storyline, are my favorite positives of it, as well as the improved Winter's Howl. But my biggest gripe with the map is restricting its Easter egg behind 150 rounds. Not everyone, including myself, likes playing high rounds like that. And especially, a lot of people just simply don't have time for that, nor have the attention span to just run around and kill zombies for, like 7 or 8 hours? It might be more than that. That idea is unique in itself, but to me, it screams lack of creativity from Treyarch. At 26, we have another Black Ops 1 map with Moon. Moon has aged pretty poorly, in my opinion, when looking into the practicality of the map. What do you mean I need my astronaut helmet to breathe because we're on the fucking moon? But if I want to use the best part of the map, the hacker, I have to leave my helmet behind. And these are both essentials to the map. I will say though, the Easter egg of course is amazing. The storyline significance is huge, and it included a phenomenal ending to Black Ops 1 storyline heading into Black Ops 2. As well as the wave gun being a pretty sick wonder weapon, even well over a decade later. And cracking the top 25, we have Blood of the Dead. Blood of the Dead is seriously one of the most overhated maps of all time, and I could arguably rank this map even higher. Blood of the Dead took the same location as Mob, expanded on it, and gave it its own flavor. By no means is it better than Mob of the Dead, but the unique feel of it is a good thing. People love to say that they ruined Mob, but what they did was put a unique spin on it, and I think if they copied Mob directly, then people would have complained that it wasn't original. The map's main wonder weapon, the Magma Gat, is phenomenal. The storyline significance was great, as is much of Black Ops 4. The Easter egg is extremely challenging yet rewarding, and it's still one of the only Easter eggs that I have not beat. Despite that, it has its glaring flaws, such as the Hell's Redeemer, and needing to suck up 3 zombie souls just to get 1 shield charge in multiple of the tedious Easter egg steps. But one more positive, that damn cutscene at the end is sure to invoke some emotion. Finally, to end off the C tier, we have the other Black Ops 6 launch map, Terminus. I would say Terminus is a decent step up from Liberty Falls, although they are in the same tier. Terminus brings a much better atmospheric experience, being placed in the South Asian Sea, I believe. The map is unique with its water that you have to traverse through with the boat, but I wouldn't say the execution made it blend together all too well. The wonder weapon isn't my favorite nor the most unique, but the Easter egg is not too horrible of an experience. The map's boss fight is challenging and I think rewarding, just like most BO6 maps. I mean, these boss fights get harder and harder, it feels like. Now we are moving into the B tier, which are good maps, actively good maps. Maps that hold much more positives than negatives, but still are not perfect by any means. And to start off the B tier, we have a ranking that may ruffle some feathers, and that is Shangri-La at 23. For whatever reason, in my experience, I feel like Shang has a little bit of a cult fan base, which isn't bad, but I don't view the map in the benevolent light that some people do. The boss zombies are a little annoying, especially considering how challenging and how tight the corridors are everywhere on the map. Not that the map being difficult is necessarily a bad thing, I just don't love it as much as others. Regardless, it is still a beautiful map with a great aesthetic, a phenomenal storyline significance, and come on, the baby gun is one of the most unique and fun wonder weapons ever. 22, we have Shinonuma, arguably the easiest map to high round on. Shinonuma introduced the Wonder Waff, which can get you to infinite rounds on World at War due to the 25 cap on zombie spawns and a pattern of dog rounds allowing you to get a max ammo every single time. The map is of course significant in the beginning of the storyline, and there's nothing wrong with the map. Just again, as most of the World at War maps, it's just old and outdated. At 21, we have Shattered Veil. Shattered Veil to me was a pleasant surprise when it felt like Black Ops 6 Zombies was completely shot. I think the map's aesthetic is pretty, even if it's not super zombie-ish per se, but the mansion and the ginormous T-Rex skeleton that you actually end up fighting in a boss fight are genuinely great. The Easter egg is a little bit of a collectathon, it's a little tedious and boring, but the wonder weapons, although recycled, I think are a good bit of fun. Now bear with me, do not click off the video. Easily my hottest take of this entire ranking, we have Alpha Omega at number 20. This map is one of, if not the most hated map of the Jason Blundell era of Call of Duty Zombies, which I do not entirely understand. The storyline significance is huge in the map, and despite the low budget cutscenes, I think the story is one of the best parts of the map. Guys, come on. Hearing dialogue between Primus and Ultimus is an absolutely sick experience. Hearing the old and new versions of the original 4 interacting with each other, so many dialogue lines went into building that, as well as the cameo of Marlton being trapped inside the bunker. Russman, the AI of the map, is also a really cool feature, and I don't honestly find the layout to be as annoying as most people think. Of course, there are some glaring issues with the map, including the ventilation system, which I know, maybe the most annoying Pack-a-Punch quest ever. I hate how those things turn off. And the remastered ray guns, I'll say, are not the most innovative of map-exclusive wonder weapons. Right after Alpha Omega at 19, we have the Giant, the remaster of Doris. The Giant holds a great part in the Primus storyline, as well as an amazing cutscene involving Primus Richthofen killing his Ultimus counterpart. The cutscene truly shows the change in Richthofen from a maniacal sociopath to somewhat normal German scientist trying to actually save the world this time. The map doesn't do enough expansion on Doris for me to rank it any higher, but it's a very fun experience whether you're a casual player or not. At 18, we have one of the most disappointing yet simultaneously good maps of Jason Blundell's cycle. Although Revelations is less than original, and particularly an anticlimactic ending to Black Ops 3, there is still so much to love. I think the map does flow together well with the portals and jump pads despite the absolute clusterfuck that it is, and I think the weaponry being so large and having so much variety for the player to run, even if the Thunder Gun, the Ragnaroks, and the Apothicon Servant make the map pretty easy, is really cool. There really isn't much else to say because the map doesn't make many of its own features, but it's overall still a good experience with a good boss fight. Sorry, the storyline a little anticlimactic. At 17 here, we have the most played zombies map of all time in Keener der Toten. If you were to ask me when I was 10 years old, I would say this was the best zombies map ever. Because nothing beat running around the stage or the side yard with a thunder gun, slaying zombies until my thumbs fell off from spamming RT. Nowadays, Kino is a little outdated and sadly just basic. The map is arguably one of the easiest of all time and doesn't do anything particularly innovative. Nonetheless, the map deserves its flowers absolutely, and I believe 17 is a perfect spot. At 16, we have the highest rated Black Ops 6 map and one of the highest rated Modern Zombies maps at that, in Citadel des Morts. Citadel des Morts overall had one of my favorite layouts and scenery of Black Ops 6 cycle. The map showcased a fairly simple Easter egg alongside a hard boss fight and had elemental swords that, although were a little disappointing, I thought added another level of content to the map that already flowed so seamlessly, making for a well above average zombies map and giving it number 16. At 15, we have Zetsubo no Shima, and that should be a surprise to absolutely no one. A map that was hated on launch has aged like fine wine and arguably could have had a higher spot. Takio's map of Black Ops 3 on a North Sea island was home to a phenomenal Easter egg, a super fun and I think unique wonder weapon, and a two-part boss fight ending in one of the most touching and emotional cutscenes ever when Takio has to kill his Ultimus version, only after learning the betrayal from the Empire he once worshipped. The map does, however, have one of the most nagging and annoying boss zombies of all time in the Thrasher, and I think the plan system had a lot of potential that they failed to achieve. At 14, we have 5, another really tough map to rank, but 5 does come in right near the top 10. Although the map is a direct copy of a real-life location in the Pentagon, the map still manages to be one of the most unique zombie experiences, especially at its time. Featuring a phenomenal celebrity cast with Robert McNamara, John F. Kennedy, Fidel Castro, and Richard Nixon. The Pentagon Thief is a challenging and rewarding boss. The map is a great challenge and has that storyline significance we're looking for. Overall, a really good map that is always fun to revisit, especially for me. At 13, the very top of B tier is Call of the Dead. The second straight map with a celebrity cast, Call of the Dead has another amazing group of 4 with Michael Rooker, Robert Englund, Danny Trejo, and Sarah Michelle Gellar. Set near the Tunguska River in Siberia, the map consists of a zombie movie being directed by the famous George Romero, when eventually it manifests into real life, making the 4 actors fight zombies and eventually their director, while also being directed by Ultimus hiding on the site nearby. The wonder weapons do hold the map a little back, although unique, I don't think they're very good at all, but the map is so unbelievably creative and fun to play, it is so deserving of the top B tier spot. Now we move into the A tier, which are great maps with very few flaws, not quite a perfect map, but overall a great map. One you always want to load up, one that is always a good time. We are starting off the A tier with one of my hottest takes of the video, Tag der Toten, just above its original version in the B tier. Tag der Toten is the beautiful summer version of Call of the Dead, and when I say the map is beautiful, it is truly the Mona Lisa of Call of Duty Zombies maps, in my opinion, in terms of aesthetics. The map has a bit of a collectathon Easter egg, but it's nothing too overwhelming overall, and interacting with the hermit in the lighthouse, aka Pablo Marinus, is a wonderful experience. The storyline significance is obviously huge since it is the final map of the Ether storyline, and although the budget was low, the cutscene with every Ultimus and Primus member having to end their own lives in order to break the cycle is sure to bring some emotion to the player, and the boss fight, I say in air quotes, is also extremely fun and stressful as you are constantly moving in a zone being pummeled by zombies everywhere. The map is not extremely well received since BO4 was pretty much fried by the time this map even came out. And I will say the wonder weapons are unoriginal, and the final crew of the storyline being Victus is maybe a little bit disappointing. Storyline wise it makes sense, but the Victus crew is probably a fraction of fun to play as the other main crews. Overall, the positives outweigh the few negatives of the map, pushing it into the A tier above Call of the Dead. Number 11 is the highest ranking modern zombies map, and it has rightfully earned its spot. Mauer der Toten was the 3rd zombies map of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and let's say Treyarch cooked. Mauer takes inspiration from Die Rise in terms of its levels of verticality, and it is executed about 100 times better. The map flows together very well, the setting is very cool, and I am a really big fan of the aesthetic. I think it creates a dark atmosphere, that ominous city vibe. Overall, between the Easter egg, the gameplay, and the boss fight, I think Mauer der Toten is right above the top 10. And to start off the top 10, we have an absolute underrated banger. Maybe not as underrated as it used to be. I think it is gaining popularity, but that is Dead of the Night. An absolute gem at the start of Black Ops 4, Dead of the Night features one of the most beautiful maps ever, set in a billionaire's mansion, including an expansive outside area and a forest section. Although the Easter egg is somewhat complicated, it's not super hard once you finally get the hang of it, and you are rewarded with the pleasure of using one of the best and most underappreciated wonder weapons of all time in the Alistair's Annihilator. The themes of the map are strong. I mean, they are phenomenal. I love the concept of the Nosferatus, the werewolves, and obviously the ginormous werewolf that you fight in the boss fight to complete the Easter egg. Of course, as an A tier map, the map does have a couple flaws, like the aforementioned boss zombies being completely overwhelming and annoying at times. And I will say the crew on this map is maybe one of the most uninteresting and annoying celebrity casts ever. Right above Dead of the Night, we have another Black Ops 4 map, this time one of the launch maps in 9. These two maps are very close to me. It was very hard to decide what to put over, but I ultimately chose 9. 9 is an absolutely stunning and sick map. I mean, what else do I need to say besides you're playing Call of Duty Zombies in the Roman Colosseum, constantly being judged by a crowd of spectators. And be careful you don't piss them off or they will literally throw shit at you, like literal shit. And that's actually one of the Easter egg steps. In all seriousness, this map has an extremely player-friendly and organized layout with an Easter egg that isn't particularly hard to do, but not a total piece of cake. I love the challenge system being something that the player needs to do, but also providing a good reward. And then there's a boss fight against not one, but 2 giant zombified elephants. I think it's a good challenge, especially if you don't have the Helion Salvo. It makes it much harder. Again, one of the only things holding the map back are, of course, the overwhelming amounts of boss zombies. That is a common theme of Black Ops 4. And the wonder weapon is fairly underwhelming. I think the concept itself and the artwork is cool, but it's kind of just another Wonder Waff and a little bit worse than that. It comes in just slightly above Dead of the Night, simply because I think the map is a little bit more rewarding throughout the Easter egg steps, and it isn't held back by a completely uninteresting crew, although Chaos isn't the greatest. At 8, we have one of my personal favorite maps, and one of the easiest maps in old Zombies, and that is Buried. Buried has some of the most innovative and unforgettable features, automatically propelling it into the top 10. Whether it's being able to draw and place wall buys wherever you want, and being rewarded for doing so with points, the absolute GOAT Leroy or Arthur, who you can give booze and candy to kill zombies or destroy otherwise unbreakable barriers for you, the Ghost House that rewards you with a free perk if you get through there untouched, or maybe it's the absolute stick and broken in the first 70 rounds wonder weapon in the Paralyzer. Oh, maybe it's one of the most innovative and multi-use perks in Vulture Raid. This map seriously holds a special place in my heart, and the significance of the story is awesome. Oh, and did I mention, this map takes place in an abandoned underground western town? Yeah, this map rocks. When I think of prime Call of Duty Zombies, the peak of the community, I do honestly think of Gorod Krovi sometimes, which has earned the number 7 spot. Taking place in war-torn Stalingrad, this is the map where Primus must retrieve the soul of Ultimus Nikolai. This map is truly near flawless, and I struggle to find where the discourse that this map is overrated from. The map's atmosphere is one of the coolest that we have ever seen. Buildings decaying from war, dragons flying over the sky, and the intro cutscene with Primus skydiving in using Peter McCain's dead body is insane. The new features on this map, like the Gauntlet of Siegfried, the Guard of Fafnir, and the Reagan Mark III, all make it a super enjoyable experience. The challenge system provides a reward for the player on a pretty difficult map, and you get to ride a dragon, a literal dragon across the map, who then you have to fight as the first part of the boss fight, in which you end up fighting Ultimus Nikolai in the second part in a giant mech. And it ends in a super emotional cutscene between Primus and Ultimus Nikolai, where Ultimus Nikolai confesses his extreme alcohol addiction is his way of coping with the loss of his wife. We also see the return of Anton Gersh and Sophia as big parts of the map's Easter egg. The only possible flaws on this map are a couple of the Easter egg steps that are very hard, very difficult, and I think the Valkyrie drones are inconvenient and annoying. But this map feels so creative and so well put together, it is so deserving of number 7. Number 6, we have Doris. Doris is where zombies truly became zombies. This map took everything Noct, Verrucht, and Shinonuma introduced and perfected it into the formula that we still know today. Pack-a-Punch was obviously revolutionary, and the addition of teleporters gave the map a flow that felt way ahead of its time. Even now, camping on the catwalk and killing zombies for hours is still fun. The reason I have Doris just outside of S tier is because while it's legendary and insanely influential, the other maps just simply expanded the formula further with more depth, more atmosphere, and more content. But there's no denying this map changed Call of Duty Zombies forever. It's simple without being boring, replayable without needing the complexity, and honestly one of the most important maps Treyarch has ever made. Now we move on to the S tier, best of the best, top 5 maps, flawless execution. Everything about these maps are just phenomenal. Coming in at number 5, we have Mob of the Dead. Mob of the Dead is truly the point where the zombie storyline, atmosphere, and gameplay all came together perfectly. Everything about this map feels intentional, whether it's the haunting Alcatraz setting, to the plane building, to the emotional story of the 4 mobsters trapped in the endless cycle. It's one of the few maps where the atmosphere alone can truly pull you in before you've even been able to understand what's going on in the map. Gameplay-wise, Mob absolutely nails the balance between challenge and fun. Afterlife is still one of the coolest mechanics Treyarch has ever ventured into. The Blundergat, the Sweeper, the Acid Gat, the Vitrolic Withering, they're all-time wonder weapons. And the Golden Gate Bridge finale gives the map one of the most memorable endings in Zombies history. Every area of the map feels unique, and there's always something to do without the setup being, for me, S tier means flawless, and Mob of the Dead absolutely earns that. It's cinematic, it's replayable, and still feels very special every single time you load it up. Just above Mob of the Dead, we have Drak. This was truly so hard to decide, but I did ultimately choose DE over Mob of the Dead. Drak was DLC 1 of Black Ops 3, and it absolutely delivered. Taking place in the Griffin Castle in the mountains of Australia.
What?
This snow-covered map holds one of my favorite Easter eggs and some of the greatest, most fun wonder weapons of all time. The gameplay loop is nearly perfect in this map. The setup is rewarding, the wonder weapon bows are all unique and extremely memorable. I mean, these things are ridiculous. And the Easter egg is pretty easy, even for casual players. It's not that bad, especially if you're following a guide, and I think it makes so much fun. Every area of the map is purposeful, the pacing is perfect, and even high round gameplay, which I'm not very into, stays engaging instead of repetitive. It's the definition of a polished Zombies experience. It's accessible enough for new players, and it's plenty deep enough for hardcore fans to replay as much as they want. The fact that we have a cutscene in the middle of the Easter egg steps, the ending cutscene where Dempsey has to kill his Ultimus counterpart, and sending rockets back at the moon, the opposite of what we had to do at the end of Black Ops 1. This map is an absolute A+. Coming in at number 3, the most underrated Zombies map of all time. If you haven't played it, please go play it. It is Ancient Evil. Ancient Evil belongs in flawless S tier because it truly is the peak of Black Ops 4 Zombies. The map's Greek mythology theme is executed beautifully. The visuals are incredible and some of the best, most fun wonder weapons in Zombies history. The atmosphere is constantly epic. The gauntlets are all satisfying to use, and traversing around the map is actually not confusing despite the map being pretty large. Unlike some of the BO4 maps, Ancient Evil keeps complexity manageable while still offering so much depth for dedicated players. Easter egg is cinematic and memorable without becoming frustrating, and the map consistently rewards exploration. It's one of the few Zombies maps where almost every mechanic feels refined. I love the shield on this map. I love the Pegasus strikes. Like, the monkey bomb of the map is a giant horse that comes down and just flaps its wings and kills zombies for you. And then you end up fighting Pegasus in the boss fight. Man, this map truly knocked it out of the park. I'm so sad that I didn't play this map when it first came out, but having been able to play it over the past couple years and really learn to love it has been amazing. Please go play it. Please go use all the wonder weapons. All those hands are amazing, especially the red one. I forgot what it's called, but it's like the Magma Gat. That one is phenomenal. Choosing between number 1 and number 2 feels like an impossible choice. This sort of is like a 1A, 1B, but at the end of the day, I did have to decide and crown a winner. Number 2 is Origins. Origins is a flawless map. Call it how it is a flawless map. S tier. It's hard, it's challenging, it's fun, it has so much depth. It completely changed what Zombies was. Origins and Mob of the Dead transformed our game that we love. The scale of the map, the atmosphere of a war-torn battlefield in World War I, the introduction of massive story-driven gameplay made it feel revolutionary when it released. The introduction of premise, that beginning cutscene where they all find each other and they look up and there's a giant-ass robot about to step on them. It is just ridiculous the effort they put into this map. Every match feels like a full-on adventure. You get to build the staffs, you upgrade them, you have to keep all your generators on. And progressing through the Easter egg all create a sense of purpose that few maps can even match. Despite how much there is to do and how long the Easter egg can be, Origins never loses its identity. The soundtrack, the lore, the emotional weight to elevate it beyond just gameplay. It's arguably one of the most ambitious and influential maps Treyarch ever made, and its replayability, seriously, I believe will never go away. I could play Origins every day for the rest of my life and still have fun. I could run around killing panzers with the ice staff, or I can continue to miss the jumps for the lightning staff and still just love this map so much. But coming in at number 1, merely edging out Origins, is Shadows of Evil. What can I say? Shadows of Evil is the greatest Call of Duty Zombies map ever made. It is Treyarch's Mona Lisa, Treyarch's most creative map. They took an absolute swing and they knocked it out of the park. The 1940s noir aesthetic mixed with Lovecraftian horror gives the map a completely unique identity that no other Zombies map has even come close to replicating. You spawn placed into Morgue City and you hear the jazz music, something that Call of Duty Zombies has never been. It's always been a game that gravitates towards rock music, but you step into this map and you hear that jazz music and you look in front of you and you see the Shadow Man fucking staring at you. It's crazy. The city literally feels alive. The round change music is legendary, and the beast mode system upgraded on Afterlife and introduced such a new level of fluidity to Zombies gameplay. The setup is fun and really not that hard, whether it's getting through the rituals to turn on the Pack-a-Punch, the Arc Ovum step, or the infamous flag step, which does still give me a little bit of trouble sometimes. Every part about this map is rewarding, even getting through the rounds, because once you get the Margwa Heart and the Tentacle, you get to create the best wonder weapon of all time in the Apothecon Servant. What an absolutely sick wonder weapon, overpowered, but somewhat limited because of its limited ammo capacity. It was a perfectly balanced, amazing wonder weapon. Like, if you wanted to make a really good wonder weapon that still wasn't completely broken, I think they did a great job. Shadows really introduced players to a darker and more cinematic direction that BO3 took, and it absolutely defined the modern era of the mode. It's a map that literally gets better the more you play it, which is one of the biggest signs of an all-time classic. If I had to pick one least favorite part of this map, it would be the celebrity cast. I don't think they're bad in any way. I don't think they bring that much substance to the map, but the lore, the storyline significance is wonderful. I mean, you trap the Shadow Man in the summoning key after he manipulated the 4 characters into committing heinous crimes, so they would be trapped in this cycle. And then finally, the Keepers are going to collect the summoning key when Richtofen pops out of a rift, someone who hasn't been seen in forever, and he grabs the key. And then the dimension and the characters are left behind and completely taken over by Apothecon rule, ending in a sad way for our characters, but it was absolutely pivotal in the Primus storyline. This map is peak. This map is the greatest piece of content in any video game I've ever played. Shadows of Evil is number 1. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. This one took a long time, probably the most effort I've put into a YouTube video ever. I tried to make the descriptions as short and concise as possible. If you guys enjoyed, please like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated, and have an amazing day.